You guys just you keep coming around. I just keep hearing about you guys.
And I might need to tell Ryan to cut that up a little bit and just put it in my audio for my phone.
First of all, I love the game. I had a passion to play the game, not only football, but I love the game of golf. And what it lends to a person and the friendships you develop on the golf course.
It's been a pleasure being on the drop. I wish you guys all the best down the road.
As someone like you have that golf itch like a lot of us do.
I keep track of you, and you are moving. You are on the move.
So listen, I'm a big New Jersey golf guy. You're very kind, Mike, and you too, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be on just a couple of Jersey boys here talking about something we love. All the best. I really enjoyed it.
This is the Drop Podcast, where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back to episode 137. Mike, we got a packed episode here. We got the PGA Championship. You played in the 4-ball. Let's jump into it and get into some of our big topics today. This week, kind of our schedule for this week, we have yesterday, Mike, you played the 5th hole at LBI National, par 4. That was the Mike's verse. It's incredible that we've already had 7 of these, Mike. We've been
head down,
fortunate to
plugging along.
Yeah, exactly. So that came out yesterday. If you didn't check it out, head over to our Instagram, head over to YouTube, go check out what Mike did at LBI National yesterday. Today is episode 137. It's May 20th. Hello to everybody out there. I actually saw something like on Instagram. It was Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods playing golf together. Did you see this?
I did not.
It was old. It's baggy pants Tiger and MJ. So like baggy with the pleats, right? And Jordan with a big cigar in his mouth makes a putt, picks the ball up out of the cup, and then gives Tiger the fist bump, but it's clearly like making fun of him. He's like I got a chuckle out of it. Anyway, episode 137 today. We're here. Make sure you go over wherever you're listening or watching. Make sure you like, review, rate, subscribe, all those good things. They really help us out a lot. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the 21st, Ryan versus Heron Glen, 15th hole. We played Heron Glen a few weeks ago. We had all that stuff come out. We were able to record another hole, kind of one that Mike and I were like, let's put it in the coffers just in case we have a week where we don't get out. And it's at a time of the year where it's been raining a lot. Mike and I haven't been able to get out together, and just kind of life's been in the way, so we got to use it, right? So par 3, 204 yards. A really nice hole that kind of downhill. I don't think the pictures or the video do it justice to how kind of nice it was. You got some houses in the background there. It was a pretty view. So that is tomorrow. Ryan versus Heron Glen, hole 15. And then Thursday, for the second time, we have a Hall of Famer. First time was Jim Nantz. Second time, the newest, a recent inductee to the New Jersey Golf Hall of Fame, Brian Komline. Brian's won all 5 of the majors of golf in New Jersey. He's won the Pub Links, the Open, the Mid-Am, the Am, and the 4-ball. Oh, Mike, look at me go. Like, I know what I'm talking about. So that's, it was really cool to have him on, talk with him and hear kind of his story. And again, we've had this a few times, a guy, baseball guy growing up turns into a golfer, and a stud golfer at that. So that was really cool to be able to chat with him and talk with him. And then Mike, Friday, again, we haven't gotten to play with each other in a little while, so there's no we don't have a Mike verse for Friday. So we got bonus Friday if we do put anything out, but right now currently nothing scheduled for us. So that is this week's weekly scheduled topics for you.
Today's episode is brought to you by All County Exteriors, your go-to for roofing, siding, windows, doors, and all things exterior home remodeling. As a third-generation family-owned company with over 40 years of experience, All County has earned the reputation for top-quality craftsmanship and service, far outlasting the industry standard. Whether it's a small repair or a full home upgrade, they serve both homeowners and builders across New Jersey. They're deeply rooted in the community, proudly supporting Make-A-Wish, St. Jude's, Roofs for Troops, and parents of autistic children. Thinking about a project? Now's the time. Get an instant 20% off for a limited time. Call 732-370-2780 or email them info@allcountyonline.com to schedule your free, no obligation consultation. That's 732-370-2780. All County Exteriors. Quality you can trust. Let me quickly dive through the fast facts. Obviously, I'm not going to, waste the fast facts with the PGA Championship. We'll get into that in a bit here. But as we kind of look ahead to this week on the PGA Tour, you got the Charles Schwab Challenge. And I think as I'm pulling some of this up real quickly to see who's in the field, it's tough trying to get some of the bigger names to go play after a major. But Chris is in the field. Max is in the field. John Pack is in the field. And our stepchild, Neil Shipley's in the field. So we got a kind of a loaded field for our New Jersey's plus one guys teeing it up this week. So again, best of luck to them. Hopefully, Chris can continue that great play that he's got going on. Max with a great showing there at the PGA Championship. So those guys are teeing up this week in Texas. Now, as we venture a little bit south on the Korn Ferry Tour, unfortunately, James and Ryan did both miss the cut this past week, but they're both back in action at the Visit Knoxville Open. Creative names there in the Korn Ferry Tour. But those two guys are back in action this week, and hopefully they can get back to making a few cuts and getting things back rolling the right way.
Where do you think this tournament's being held, Mike?
Knoxville.
Brought to you by Knoxville, Tennessee. Knoxville for all your whiskey needs.
So that is real quick hitting up on the fast facts for our guys this week.
All right. Mike, I think we have to start here. The New Jersey 4-ball that you played in. I went out, visited you day one there, and we had a great day. It was really lovely walking with you. But let's kind of talk about that day and everything that was happening and kind of everything that let's talk about the 4-ball, right? You and Austin went up there, dominated day one. And I'm gonna unselfishly take a lot of credit for that because I think you guys were middle of the pack. I met you, got up there at the turn, met you on hole 10, and then you guys went bonkers on the back. You were able to tie, was it co-medalist, which is a huge accomplishment. And really, you guys just played great golf together. You did a good job of ham and egging when I was out there. You had a birdie. Austin would have a birdie when you were out of the, you guys did a really great job playing, firing on all cylinders. Let's stay in day one. What was going on? What was going through your minds? I get out there. I know we were talking, but I do also try to be a spectator, right? And try to be off in the distance. There's no ropes there or anything like that, but I also don't want to be necessarily walking down the fairways with you. It is a little bit odd. I don't go watch you play pickup basketball and go on the court for it, right? So what were you and Austin talking about? What was it like? Maybe even more so on the front since I was there on the back. How did that day work for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea on a stroke play round is just to get to match play. So we kept saying, listen, I was hawking the leaderboard to kind of see where we're at, what's going on, what do we think the number is, and I think. We were kind of going back and forth on the front nine. Nothing really, wow, in a sense. I think I parred the first hole. He parred the second. We made a lot of pars. On 4, he made a good birdie. On 6, we both made birdies, which you don't kind of want to do in a 4-ball, but we did. The
4th hole birdie is a good one. Only famous people birdie that one.
So we made the turn at 2 under. So I was like, okay, we made the turn at 1 under because we did have a bogey in there. So we did make the turn at 1 under. And And we
which
kind
is
of said
good. That was the
that was the
100
cut
was the
line.
cut line. Yeah.
All right. So we kind of said, well, let's get to 3. That was kind of the goal in the front. Like, let's get to 3. And anybody that plays in these events is like, make it the match play because really seeds are irrelevant, right? Everybody's a good golfer at this point. And then the back 9, we kind of just caught fire. He made 3 birdies on holes I didn't make birdies on. I made 2 birdies on holes he didn't make birdies on. So you combine with 5 under on the back 9 to shoot 30 on the back. With him putting kind of an exclamation mark on the back 9 by making like a good 17 footer on 18 for birdie, to kind of put us in that co-medalist spot, which, is not something we thought would happen after our front 9, but we kind of got the ball rolling on the back. And, being the last tee time of the day, you kind of knew exactly where things were. And you had a perfect day out there. The sun was perfect. The conditions of the course were ideal. The greens were rolling. You just had like what you all envision a golf day to be like. We had that day 1 at New Jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was the big difference between your front and your back then? You guys go 5 under on the back. What would you say the catalyst was to really making that happen?
Yeah, I don't know if you're hinting at me wanting to say you, but I could be wrong there. But if that's the avenue you want me to go down, I definitely can. I don't, it's one of those things in golf. It's momentum, just like a lot of other sports.
Yeah.
You make a few putts, you kind of see a few things go in, and I know first and foremost, like I am a very streaky putter, and when I see the ball go in, it definitely gives a guy like me some confidence. Like, okay, you can do it. And I think you and I have had this conversation at nauseum. Like, I can do it. It's just a matter of like, can I do it? And I definitely felt like in the back 9 there, I kind of, did my part in contributing to the team, which led to a great first day and got us into match play.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about rolling the rock, Mike. You birdied back-to-back holes, and hole 15, par 3, you made a very long, sweeping downhill 25, 30-foot putt for birdie, something like that. And I'm not trying to knock Austin here. Austin had a similar putt. You both were kind of like in that left side of the green, and Austin didn't even get to the crest. So you not only were able to get to the crest and get it back onto the plateau you needed to be on, you knocked the putt down. So really we're rolling the rock nicely, and then birdied the next hole with a putt even I could have made because you put it to about 3 feet. So yeah, you were really swinging it well. And again, Austin's doing what Austin does. And it's so amazing to watch good golfers play good golf. And knowing that you guys are nowhere, like you guys are closer to me than you are professional golfers. So it's just really cool to watch. Like, wow, these guys are on a heater. It was really fun to watch. And like you said, absolutely beautiful day out there. The course was in great condition. And, the views, I don't need to talk about North Jersey more. Everybody knows how I feel about it. But then we go into day 2. And talk to me about day 2. How are you feeling going in, being medalist? I know that seeds don't matter, but you do got to feel good about where you were getting the, I guess the 2 seed or co-1 seeds, however they work it out, whoever they are going to pair you up with. You got to feel good about the game and where it is. But how did you guys feel going into day 2?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think anytime you play well the day before, you definitely have some confidence going into the next day. And, to the father-son combo of Pat Senna and Derek Senna, 2 household names here in this, shore conference, central New Jersey area that you and I live in. Like, Pat's a very good golfer, plays golf, Division I, Monmouth University. You got Derek, who's a household name, winning multiple
certified
championships.
stud.
Yeah. So you knew that it wasn't like, oh, you're playing, run of the mill guy at the local muni. Like, you're playing 2 very good golfers. And that's kind of what you see at this tournament. If you look at all 16 teams that made it, like, these are dudes. And I think, which is funny, I think if you looked at everybody's handicap and you ranked all the golfers from 1 to 32 on all 16 teams, I was the worst one. And my index is 2.2. I'm the worst one out there.
Yeah.
So it kind of puts things in perspective when you look at it. It's like, wow, plus 0, 0.1, 0.9. And then you have to go all the way to number 32. And that's where Mike Poro lies, which is kind of, and that's when even a guy like me is out there, understanding that. But then there's also the competitive side where you want to still perform, mentally, you're not conceding the fact that they're better. And then listen, I wouldn't say we played well, but we were down 2 early. Pat made a good birdie. Derek made a good birdie early on, back-to-back holes. But then Austin chips in for eagle on number 6. Kind of crazy. Ball had eyes the whole way. Kind of was like, all right, we're going to, wow, that's momentum. You talk about momentum. Let's go. Then we proceeded to win 8. We won 12. We won 14. So now we're sitting with 2 up with 3 holes to go. And, like a lot of things, you don't want to give an inch because this is still golf and anything can happen. And I think that's where a guy like Derek stepped up to the plate, and I think when you watch some of the shots that he had hit to give them opportunities to continue the match, it wasn't like we were making bogeys and they were making pars. Like we were on the green in 2, 15 footers, 20 footers, whatever the case was. But Derek hits it to about 6 inches on 16. Tap and birdie, they win the hole. Unfortunately, my 2-putt par does us no good, right?
Yeah.
Does us no good. We go to 17, the par 5. We're still 1 up. And all 4 of us are around the green in 2. Austin kind of has a weird lie back where he was. I have a pretty straightforward chip that I just didn't get close enough. And Pat was kind of, probably 10 feet away. But Derek lips out his chip for eagle, excuse me. So it's another tap and birdie. And Austin and I both miss our putts for birdie from about 15 to 20 feet. So they win that hole. So now you're going into 18. Like, all right, now it's kind of like do or die. Like now it's kind of
2 with 3, now tied going into 18.
Yeah, now it's kind of like put up or shut up. And Derek and I both drove it into the left rough. Not great. And Pat and Austin both bomb it. Okay, both bomb it out there. Derek goes first. He hits it to about 3 feet from the left rough. Unbelievable shot. It was just like, you even saw Pat look back at him and told him like, that's really good. And then we got up there and I think I hit mine to 20 feet. Pat hit his second shot to about 25 feet and Austin hit it to about 7 feet. Pat and I both 2-putt. So we kind of, the stage is set for who makes a putt. Austin unfortunately lips his out. Derek makes his. And it's one of those things, Derek goes birdie, birdie, birdie on the last 3 holes. We lose 1 up. And it's like probably one of the more demoralizing losses that I think I've been a part of in quite some time. And not so much that I've competed in things like this, but the idea that you're so close to advancing and that's all you're looking to do in match play because, frankly, your scores are relevant. But then there's times you just got to tip your cap that guess what? That's golf. And when good golf is played and you're not really truly making mistakes on the other side, you got to just, give credit where credit's due. And Derek Senna played unbelievable golf and you just got to tip your cap to that and say, listen, job well done. Are you looking for the perfect place to tee it up this season? Or just looking for a great spot for casual comfort food? Or the most picturesque backdrop for the wedding of your dreams? Then you need to visit Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Galloping Hill has 18 holes of championship level golf open all year round. They also offer a top 50 in the country learning center that also includes the swing suite at Galloping Hill for those bad weather days during the season, in addition to a 9-hole course that is ranked in the top 10 of short courses in the entire country. Galloping Hill is more than just golf. The Hill Tavern Bar and Grill is a gastro pub with seasonal food and beer options updated regularly with amazing views of the course. Hosting over 150 golf outings and over 400 social events per year, their catering team wins awards each year from the Knot and Wedding Wire. Schedule a tour for your special event at the clubhouse at gallopinghill.com. To top it all off, Galloping Hill will be hosting the New Jersey Men's Public Links Championship for the record 12th time. It's all happening this year at Galloping Hill.
To your point, Mike, you guys, it's not like you played poorly. It's not like you guys were knocking it around. You got nervous and were taking bogeys and doubles and they just happened to okay, well, I'm not going to throw up on myself, right? He went and took it from you. And I know that it was a tough loss for you because, I tried talking to you after you didn't want to, and I can respect the frustration there for sure. But I also hope that you understand like that's a tough loss, but It's not like you guys, you can always go back, right? And be like, oh, I wish I did this on this hole or this on that hole, right? You can always do that. But ultimately, it seemed to me, not being there, but just watching it on the Golf Genius and hearing from you, Derek went and took it. It's not like you guys gave it up. He went there and took it, just like journalism took the Preakness last night. He went and fired through, battled, and just went and took it. So I know that it's a tough loss, but it's, that's what stud golfers do. Derek Senna he's been doing it now for a long time. He's been around the game for a long time. His son Pat is an absolute stud as well. It's just that's what stud golfers do when the moment rises. Who the cream rises to the top, and that was cream effort there.
Yeah, listen, it was a tough one. I think for a lot of ways. I think, and I guess we'll hear on Thursday, with Brian Komline talk about it, is I'm not really a birdie making machine, right? Like I can par you to death, like I can, but in events like this, pars do nothing, right? You got to make birdies. And when you look at like what Austin and I had done through 2 rounds, we were 10 under par through 2 rounds of golf. Like that's good golfing when you step back and look at it. And I think one of the things I even said to Austin, I think being the 32nd ranked golfer in the top 32 of guys that moved on, there's no doubt I'm a liability in terms of winning the tournament. And I said to Austin afterwards, I'm like, listen, I totally get it if you want to move on and go play with somebody else, because when you know that there are better partners out there for you to play in with this to potentially win and not feel like you're carrying 80, 70, 90, 100% of the load at times. I get that. I've been a realist from the get-go with the whole thing about this, because I know that I'm not really that guy that's going to always bring birdies to the game. And that was one thing that him and I talked about at length about, like, hey, let's reevaluate this as we move forward, because if I think he's truly looking to win it, I don't know that I'm the best partner for that. I can bring you behind the scenes things. I can bring you a few laughs here and there and things about that. But I don't think I'm ultimately the best player to play with in that type of an event. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like at times, like I am a liability. It is kind of like a token gesture, even though I know he would obviously argue against that. But I just know that those guys golf and they play. And I'm not that guy, right? I'm a school teacher by career. I play golf recreationally, just, sometimes good and sometimes bad. I'm not doing this like they are. And I don't want to say full time, but on a way, way, way more competitive level.
Right. When are you practicing, Mike?
Yeah, when we play.
Right. It's right. Hitting balls 10 minutes before we tee off, right? So
yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know Austin's mindset in that, though. I know he really. I know when I see you guys together, you guys truly like each other, and I don't even mean that as like you. He likes playing golf with you. Like you guys are genuinely friends. There's a kindredness there that you can, if you walk the fairway, you can tell between the two of you. So I think it all comes down to how seriously is he trying to take this tournament? Is he trying to just, I want to do it with my buddy and what happens, or is he trying to win? We talk about it with Brian this week. Is he trying to be a guy that wins all 5 majors in his career? So,
well, if he is, and you got to think about it, he's got a mid-am under his belt.
Yep.
He's got a state-am under his belt.
Yep.
Right? Pub links may be tough because he's not really a public golfer, but he may have to go get a handicap switch to where he becomes one so he can play in it. Mm-hmm. But when you think about it, like he could win a state open, 100% could win a state open. And I do think when it gets into that competitive nature, Austin's a competitor. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, we get along, we can chirp, we can hang, we can say things. But I think
it's a silent assassin. It's a perfect way to describe him. Yeah.
You want to win. Like you get in, like even me, I'm not entering these things as being, the token guy that you're giving a favor to. Like I kind of want to win too. I just know that my abilities aren't on their abilities.
There's a ceiling to that for you.
Yeah, I am going to be that guy that you got to carry along at times. So listen, it was a great week. I will say the conditions vastly changed from day one to where it became a torrential downpour. And I had even said to Brian Krollpfeifer after Monday's round, like, do you think they'd postpone Tuesday, Wednesday to make it Thursday? And he said, absolutely not. They're playing in this, rain or shine. Those guys played in torrential downpour, both Tuesday afternoon into all day Wednesday. And I think we got to say congrats to Henry Bolster and Sean Valles, both of Canoe Brook, of a spot that you and I have ventured out to and seen on their win. Because if you saw some of the pictures and videos of the rain coming down and those dudes being out there playing, they did take down friends of the program, Jerry Wall and Ethan Wall, but it was an unbelievable scene.
I did, Mike. I don't know the winners at all. I've saw their names, but it's not like we know them. But as you said, friends of the show, the Wall brothers, and then having Jack on the bag as well. So I did want to make sure we give a shout out to Jerry and Ethan for getting to the final, and Jack on the bag there. It was cool to see that little juxtaposition there. The pro actually being the caddy was fun to see. So yeah, congrats to the winners again. Canoe Brook, that's a place where the handicap's going to travel. And as you saw, it did at North Jersey there. So congrats to everybody there. And, Bud, sorry it didn't work out for you. It's very cool to see you competing out there and getting that, getting out there and doing it. So, Mike, let's switch gears here to something a little more. We're going to stay Mike centric right now, but let's change gears here. Talk about Rock Springs and talk about your breaking par video here.
Yeah, so I think, we didn't want to tease it last week because it had just come out. We want to give some people time. But I think one of the things that you and I are having even more fun with the podcast, not just sitting down and talking with people, experiencing new spots, is being able to have a videographer, more or less, come out there and shoot these little videos. And Shaq does an unbelievable thing behind the scenes and editing these whole things to make it seem like, hey, listen, these are just another thing that you and I can do. And I thought the video came out really good. It was one of those things that, we kind of toss around ideas, what to do, what not to do. And we decided like, hey, listen, let's go breaking par from the forward tees. And I think the way he captured, whether it was you and I in the cart, whether it was you and I in the greens, or whether it was just me being the crazy lunatic that I am, like getting that full behind the scenes, you hear the little one-liners that I so often say, and then being able to kind of perform was a nice thing. Because if anybody had actually seen the front nine of that round, you would have thought I was left home crying and my dog died because I played so poorly. But the cameras came on, the game came on, and I just thought it was a really fun thing.
Yeah, it really is cool to be able to kind of dabble into some of these ideas. And we've talked about like kind of dabbling into the YouTube space a little bit. And I think these videos are, we're basically a mom and pop production. It's Mike and I. We've brought Shaq on to be, to do some videoing for us. And it's not like we have a team of people. It's Shaq, Mike's one of us up, and we're doing the best we can with what we have right now. And I think Shaq's doing a bang up job, like you said. And it's really cool to see the production and see what's going on. Like you said, it's your front nine was a nightmare compared to your back nine. So we recorded the correct side for you. Which, I'll have a video coming out in a few weeks from there as well. Same thing. My front was a lot better than my back. So, my favorite part,
sides.
We picked the right sides for sure. Yeah. I did find it funny when, I hit a putt and you turned to Shaq and goes, he's not going to like that. And then I throw a hissy fit by throwing another ball down. But yeah, it was, just great. Again, that's like the behind the scenes content that like you can show us, we can do a Ryan verse, a Mike verse Ryan. Like we can do those. Those are like little snippets into what we're doing. Putting a video out like this gets you a much deeper behind the scenes and much more feel of the round of golf, which is really pretty cool.
Yeah, I think people get to really see just another, personality that you and I have.
Yeah.
They hear us every week, they listen to us, they see some videos, but this is just a behind the scenes, like, here's how these guys act, here's what they say. And it's just another authentic way for us to kind of showcase what we're doing here in New Jersey.
For sure.
So go check out the video.
If you didn't check it out, head over to YouTube. That's where it's living. And throw a comment up there. Tell us what you think of it. Another kind of quicker topic here, Mike. We got Tony Finau commented about golf in the Northeast. The Philly Cricket just hosted the Truist. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yep.
Tournament, and which is usually held at Quail Hollow. So they've kind of flipped. They kind of gave it to the Northeast here. And Tony commented, Mike, do you have it up actually?
Yeah, he talked about how the Northeast is just so good in a 50-mile radius of where Philly Cricket Club. And I know we're kind of dating ourselves a little bit here with time about when Philly Cricket Club happened, now Quail Hollow, but they were looking for a 1-year spot for them to go play the Truist because Quail Hollow just hosted this last week's PGA Championship. So Philly Cricket Club put their hand up, and I can't tell you all the comments, but this one stood out. That how many of these guys want to come back and playing golf here in the Northeast? There needs to be a spot. The crowds, to Tony's point, were unbelievable. Even a guy like Sepp Straka, I know he wins 2 weeks ago. Again, I'm dating myself here, but the gift that his caddy gave him for a win was he got him around the next day. You know where? At Pine Valley. So I mean, this is like, that's when you and I have talked about golfing in the Garden State specifically. But if you just step a little bit to the left, you got Philadelphia. You step a little bit forward up north, you got New York. You got all these amazing spots that I think the PGA Tour just needs to give a hard look at what we have here and say, hey, listen, you got Bethpage. I know it's hosting the Ryder Cup. I know you got Shinnecock. I know they host U.S. Opens. You got Philly Cricket. You got so many unbelievable spots in this little Northeast region. How do you not have a stop on a yearly basis here?
Yeah, somewhere. And it doesn't even need to be at the traditional places, Mike. It doesn't need to be at Bethpage, Ridgewood, Baltusrol. Like, you can save those for the big ones. And I know Baltusrol's hosting something at some time,
PGA.
right?
PGA
in 29, right? So, like, you can keep those on the rotation. That's totally fine. But they're 100% should be and needs to be somewhere in New Jersey that's hosting a stop. And you got plenty of spots. Like, I know PGA looks for big spots. You got Upper Montclair that's got 27. Like, you got room there. They've hosted an LPGA event there. You have is it Fiddler's Elbow that has five nines, four 18s, right? That's plenty of room to where members could even be playing while pros are playing, right? So, like, you have plenty of spots here in New Jersey that could be great hosting spots, and you have a clientele in this area that was not only is like itching to have a spot, right? It would be well received, it would be well attended. You're missing out on a group of people here that would be well deserving and would be well acclimated or whatever the word I'm trying to find is to having something here. We want something here. We deserve to have something here. The PGA needs to be coming here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the LPGA does it right. I mean, I know they got Michelle Wee's tournament right there at Liberty National. You're going to include New York City right in that little bubble of people that are willing to come watch. You got USGA.
Mike, I don't mean to cut you off, but like, maybe the PGA doesn't want to go to Liberty National because the LPGA Tour is there. That's totally fine. You got within a half an hour, you have 25 other courses you could go to.
Well, to that point, think about it. USGA is hosting the 4-ball currently at Plainfield.
Yeah.
They've hosted tournaments at Plainfield, the PGA Tour. Like, there are many, many spots here in New Jersey that I think could do it. And even if you wanted to step outside the borders, like, there are plenty of spots there they could do it. And I think that's, to Tony Finau's point, like, there's got to be a stop year in and year out in the Northeast region that these guys can come experience some old school golf.
Mm-hmm. And even if it's not the same spot every time, Mike, they could do a Northeast rotation, right? Where you have you're not going to the big ones, right? But you go to, I mentioned a Fiddler's Elbow, right? You go to Fiddler's Elbow. You can go to Quaker Ridge. You can go to, just kind of rotate it through like this, what's that area? Like Westchester, New York. Doesn't even need to be the city, right? Like Westchester, New York, come into North Jersey and go out to, it doesn't even need to be Marion. It could go, there's again, just dozens of places that they could be in this like New York City, the metropolitan area there that are not the big name places. That would be, again, I think you have a clientele that would be like just itching to get a tournament like that. So to Tony's point, I mean, maybe we should get Tony Finau on to talk about it because it's kind of exactly what we're doing here, Mike.
I'll shoot him a DM.
Let's get the scheduler on. Let's talk to our scheduler and get Tony on.
Could always try. Shoot your shot, as you say.
Mike, I got a couple things on the sheet here that I wanted to talk about, and the first one I do want to give a little rest in peace to Morris the Alligator. It's my first and foremost, most important thing. We probably should have started the show with this. Do you know who Morris the Alligator is, Mike?
I don't.
Okay. I was afraid of that, actually. Morris the Alligator is the alligator that bit Chubbs' hand off in Happy Gilmore. Morris
What
died.
happened to him?
He just passed
Someone
away.
bit him? Someone bit him?
Mike, the alligator just died. You're going to make jokes like that? Come on.
Listen, we all have a different way of dealing with death. I like to try to bring out the comedy aspect of it. Some people want to cry in the dark side of it. We got to sometimes celebrate. So
Morris, the alligator that plays the alligator in Happy Gilmore, he's in a whole bunch of other, he's a Hollywood alligator, but its name was Morris. It did pass away this past week. I saw Adam Sandler put out a long tweet about it, which was, it's kind of funny when you're talking about an alligator, but he wrote it like it was a human being. Just, it was nice, but I don't know if they're going to give it any post, are we 2 months away? We're just about 2 months away from Happy Gilmore 2 coming out. And I don't know if Morris played a role in Happy Gilmore 2, but long life, 1945 to 25. So get a quick little shout out to Morris there. I did want to say, Mike, last year we did course ratings and we kind of stopped kind of halfway through the year. I really don't remember why. It's most likely laziness. But I know we were talking about like how tough it was to put numbers on there, right? So I wanted to come back to this. And I played around with our course rating sheet a little bit. And last year we did it out of 100. We had 10 categories, 10 points each. And we made it out of 100 points. And I think the problem we were having, Mike, is that we don't always use all the categories, right? So do you want me to share my screen for this, Mike? Or like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Take a peek.
All right, Mike. So I got this rating, and this is kind of preliminary for what I was messing around with, but we had these tops up here, right? Course conditions, pace of play, maintenance, difficulty, practice facilities, pro shop, food and beverage, organization, accessibility, on-course vibe, personal opinion, and then we had a comment section there, right? So not always do you and I participate, and this is the problem we had last year, right? So this is kind of what I was trying to think of. We didn't always deal with food and beverage last year. It's not all the time that you and I get to sit down after a round and have a bite to eat, grab a drink, or even hit the halfway house or anything like that. So we were kind of given scores last year to be like, okay, they had a halfway house. It looked like it was really good, but we didn't hit it, right? So now what I was thinking we would do is we'd make all the categories 10, but now we're going to do an average. I was able to make this category average out all of them. And then we just, if we didn't hit it, we don't put it in. We don't give it a score. Same kind of thing with the pro shop. Sometimes we go on Mondays when the course is closed and we don't get to see the pro shop at all. So I kind of think this is, we might be onto something with like this being a little bit more fair of a way to experience this. And I wanted to kind of ask you, because I didn't, I did this and I wanted to bring it up on the show with you kind of live here. What do you think of what do you think of that? What do you think of some of those ideas there?
I think it's good. I think the idea that instead of dividing it by 10 and you divide it by whatever is actually calculated, obviously makes the most sense, because if you don't experience it, you shouldn't have to rate it, and
Right.
it shouldn't go into the rating. So
That was kind of one of the things that people talked to us about last year. Like I remember we gave some place a 7 because we saw they had a patio, looked really nice, but didn't really have a halfway house. So like, I don't know. I felt like I was trying to change it a little bit, and to your point, I interrupted you, but yeah, that was kind of the idea there.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty good. I will say this, when it comes to things like that, for a guy like me, when I start to prioritize how many things I got to get done, I always forget about that. That is something that it just falls by the wayside when I'm looking at what I need to get done. But I do like the idea of it being out there, so that if someone were to ask me, hey, what do you guys think? I can at least give them your take on it, rather than me being like, listen, I don't know, because you're inundated with how many DMs and emails that we do receive about, hey, what about this golf course? What about this area? At least if you had some documentation about it, I can at least venture to say, hey, listen, Ryan actually put a report card together about this place. Here it is. Here are the good things. Here are some things he just didn't think highly of. Here's his score. Here's some notes. Let me know what you think. It opens up some dialogue with that listener, follower, about the course specifically.
Yeah, I know I just was showing a couple courses ratings, and I was, I don't want to say I'm going to start from here on out, but it's not like I filled those in that day. We played Plainfield a month and a half ago, and I filled that out this past week. So I don't know if it's exactly a fair rating, but I think it was a pretty good. I think it's a pretty good starting point to kind of change where we were going with that, and I'm going to try to be better. I do think it was out of laziness. I looked at last year's, and the last time we did it was, last time I did it was in June. So we played a lot of golf after June last year. So hopefully we could be better. That's going to be my New Year's resolution, is to try to be a little bit better about putting that golf course rating in. And I do think that we're onto something with this average out system. I think we got the categories that are all needed in rating a course. But I think that we also need to. I think the averages is a good thing. I think so.
Yeah, job well done.
So let's get into the meat of this episode. The biggest topic of the day: the PGA Championship. We'd be remiss, obviously, if we didn't talk about it. We had another major this week. It feels kind of like we just ended the Masters, quite frankly, but they've done this reconfiguring. We kind of jump right into the PGA here. We got to talk about Scotty's victory and all that. So let's digest and dissect this.
Listen, just like I said to you earlier, I mean, it's Scotty doing Scotty-like things. And I know I feel like I got to give you credit again, because you predicted a loaded leaderboard. And if anybody tuned in to the start of the back nine on Sunday, you saw it, because at one point, Jon Rahm was right there at the top of the leaderboard. At one point, Bryson was at the top of the leaderboard. Scotty Scheffler was struggling on Sunday on the front nine, hitting it left on every tee shot. And that leaderboard was named guys: Matt Fitzpatrick, Tony Finau. You saw all these guys a bunch right at the top there.
I don't think Keegan was ever like in contention, but his name was kind of up near there too. So you got like, yeah, I felt like as I was watching throughout the week, and you saw names like Harris English, Davis Riley, JT Poston, his name is JT, and he's not the most famous JT on tour. So, I mean, like, you have these guys that like early on, I felt like, my prediction of a loaded leaderboard is not going to come to fruition. And I felt a little bit vindicated Sunday when it was that loaded leaderboard, when you had Scotty had dropped a shot from Saturday. So he was 10 under, Rahm was 9 under. Bryson was like 7 or 8 under he got to. So like whatever that point was where you had a whole bunch of dudes ready to like, okay, who's going to take over the backside of this course? And everybody fell away except for Scotty.
Yeah, I mean, listen, John Rahm had plenty of opportunities, and I think that was really it was a a 2-man show between Rahm and Scotty down the stretch, and I was watching and I saw when John Rahm birdied 8, 10, and 11. I'm like, okay, this guy's got a legit chance right now to make a run, and then he got to the par 3 13th hole, and I'm watching this putt, and this ball is tracking the whole way, and it was like one of those soft dying lip outs that you're like, no way. And I think that was a little bit of, it was just heartbreaking for a guy like John Rahm because, listen, he's won a couple of Masters and I think, he'd like to get another one. And, he just has, made a couple bad pars more or less on 14, 15, and then just things, the wheels completely fell off.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I mean. Like he fell like, he has that one that's like demoralizing on the par 3 and then the drivable par 4 where like, people had gotten eagles already and he hits the wrong part of the green, maybe 2 feet. And he hits just this beautiful draw in there, but hits the face of that bowl, ends up in the bunker. You got to get, he gets out and takes his par. Like you said, a bad par in a hole that was, I would venture, Mike, that hole played under par that week.
Yeah, it was definitely gettable.
Yeah.
Gettable.
And then he just, you go through like back-to-back issues there, just kind of lost momentum and probably pressed a little too much. And then was like, okay, bogey double. And it's like, all right, now you're out of it. And it looks like from the look of it, Scotty being 11 under and the next closest person being 6 under, it looks like Scotty ran away with the tournament. And that's just not the storyline for this tournament. So
no, I think if you looked at just the box score more or less, and that's what you see a runaway. But if you had watched all afternoon on Sunday, it really wasn't that. And I think that's one of the things that we've spoken at length about what Scotty Scheffler is doing. His run is just consistent. It's not like he's streaky and winning 1 or 2 here or there. The dude has been rock solid, 15 wins in the past maybe 3 years. He's just rattling off win after win, and he's always atop the leaderboard. And frankly, it's like he's starting to get like that Tiger Woods kind of effect. And it's hard for a guy like me who's a Tiger Woods diehard to say like, when Scotty's 3 or 4 back, it's like, well, he's just right where he wants to be. And it's kind of exactly what we thought about Tiger.
Like I said, like, it's almost like everything else is like peeling a banana. Like people are just being peeled away and Scotty's never getting peeled away. He's going to remain constant. He's going to shoot 2, 3, 4 under every round. And it's just, if you don't do that, you're not keeping up with him. Not that he can't go for 63, but that doesn't seem to be what's happening here. It just seems to be that he's waiting for other people to not be exceptional, and he's going to be there in the waiting. And then you're going to, again, like we just said with Rahm, kind of just bogey double. You can't do that.
And you got to give him credit because the equipment issue he had before the tournament started, it doesn't come out officially until afterwards that his driver did not pass compliance issues. So he went to his backup. And, does that play a role in it? I'm sure with these guys it plays a little bit, but they're so good they're able to figure it out. But you wouldn't have thought that if you watched the front 9 of Sunday with everything going left, and he still found a way to overcome it.
Yeah. Mike, how does that work? I don't know enough. Does it get checked every week, his driver? Like, why are we hearing about this on a major? Why was it not last week?
So here's the thing. Randomly, I want to say it's somewhere in the number of 50 players per tournament leading up to the tournament, like that Tuesday or Wednesday. 50 different players randomly get selected for their drivers to be tested.
Every week.
Okay. This week, it was not only Scotty, but it was also Rory.
Yeah.
And both of their drivers were considered too hot. Now, the problem with that is these guys use the same driver all the time. And they're constantly hitting it in the same spot, which causes, again, I'm not very good with my science terms, but I want to say like the moment of inertia becomes a little hotter, which allows the ball to fly longer, stay in the air longer, and go further.
Okay.
So when it becomes too hot, it now doesn't pass compliance. It's deemed irregular, which then forces them to go back to a newer driver, which you would probably think, no, I want the newer one because it goes further. It's not always the case with these guys. They like the older ones that are beat up, worn down, and almost borderline,
right?
Not fair.
When you can hit it exactly in the same spot every single time. I mean, like I'll tell you, my driver face, the only spot that hasn't been hit is the hot spot. So like these guys, when they're hitting it, and I guess that's science, like it heats up. Can you imagine hitting that many balls that it gets hot? That's weird.
Yeah.
So now, and I'm not trying to even think like how to get around the rules, but like he has a conforming driver. It's just because he's like, so it needed to like rest for a week, basically. It needed to take
it's done.
It's done forever.
Done forever. That head is now garbage, more or less. Now he's going to the probably the exact same head with the exact same specs, just brand new. Right? Just brand new. Right. So it's kind of crazy. And I think, you got to give.
Could you put it in like, can you dunk it, hit the range, and then give it an ice bath? Like, I'm not trying to condone cheating here, but like, it's not like they did something to cheat the system.
No, nothing.
So like, can you hit it with an ice cube, give it a little ice bath? Does that cool it down?
I think they actually take it. I think it's done. It's over with. Like once that driver becomes, because here's the thing, you don't want to get caught after the driver becomes non-conforming to now decide you're going to use it and then get that label, right?
That makes you a schmuck. Yep.
Right. So I think it's once it becomes non-conforming, it's tossed. Let's get the new one and let's get this next one as hot as we can, more or less. Okay. And I think some of the interesting things about that is, Scotty's driver obviously had to be replaced. Rory's driver had to be replaced. And I thought some of the funny stories that came out of this is Rory was the darling coming into Quail Hollow. This is his spot. He wins here all the time. I just thought it was non-professional. And this may be a hot take, but I just felt like it's non-professional for the guy that just won the career Grand Slam that has media requests for him to speak Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to turn every one of them down. I think as a fan, as a viewer, that kind of aggravates me that like, it's not fair to us who want to hear from you that you only talk to us when you play well. And like you and I said, it's not like he played awful. He just wasn't near the leaderboard. But he still should give us a quote or two, don't you think?
I'm having a tough time with this because I kind of feel like the media is all over, and sometimes it's too saturated. Like trying to put myself in their shoes, right? Like if it's every single minute of every single day that you have something, like I don't know. I think I would, not that I don't know. I know. I would tell some people, hey, go fly a kite. Like I don't need to talk to you right now. But I do think that he needs to. Okay, you don't have to do it 4 days in a row, but why didn't you do it on Thursday before you even teed off? Why didn't you talk on Wednesday? Right.
Well, he did talk on Tuesday leading up to the tournament.
Okay.
Everybody was looking for like a post round comment or, little conversation about what most guys do at least once.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do that one time
afterwards. Yeah. I mean, and I'm just looking at his scores. I shot 69 on Tuesday on Friday to get in. That's not bad. What were you so angry about there? That you couldn't give one. So
my issue is I think he didn't want to answer questions about the non-conforming driver. I don't think he wanted to answer that question. I think he didn't want to deal with that.
But what's the question? If everyone knows the science is like, hey, it got too hot because you hit the same spot too many times and the metal that's not his fault. It's not like he was cheating to get it there. If he's got a blowtorch using it to the face of his driver, we got a different story. But like, if these guys aren't trying to do something, then you just answer like non-conforming. Or do people think like if it was non-conforming this week, then it was non-conforming during the Masters, and you just didn't get taken. So someone's going to take it away from him then? I don't
know. They're not going to take it away from him, but I think that's where questions will start to linger. I mean, that's my guess. Now
It's the PGA's rules.
Speculating.
Yeah.
Speculating, right?
So
I just didn't think that was a fair thing to do after being the darling. You just won the career Grand Slam. You're at Quail Hollow. You are a member there as well. Like, people want to hear from you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'll give you this analogy. It's like when you're a leader of a team, right? You don't get to pick and choose when you're the leader. You're the leader of the team, whether that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And when you're the guy of the PGA Tour, and listen, maybe you're 1A and 1B with Scotty, but you've been the spokesperson.
And even so, even if you're 1A and 1B, and you're usually 1B right now you're 1A because you just came off the Grand Slam and the Masters. You're at Quail Hollow, which you apparently own. There's no. Yeah, I see what you mean there. I do. It's a little childish. I would give him a break more often than not. How many tournaments is this going to happen now? If we see a pattern of it, then maybe it's something. But I don't know.
But nonetheless,
I just see what you mean.
Yeah, listen, I just got to think, if you're going to be the leader, you're
the leader for the good. You're the leader for the bad. Yep. No, yep. I get you.
So I want to throw some stats out here for you. This is Scotty Scheffler. He's 8 for 8 when leading after 54 holes.
8 for 8 is good. That's a Hall of Fame batting average.
Pretty impressive. He's now halfway to achieving the career Grand Slam. I mean, frankly, this could happen this year. It's not even a stretch of the imagination. He could get it done in 2025.
Wow. That is, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the two other things I do want to throw out there, and before I give the one final
he's got two Masters?
2 Masters.
Two Masters, now a PGA. So he's got 3 total.
Got 3 total, right? And I do want to quickly note in there that our boy Max Graserman did make the cut, T33, solid showing. Not the best Sunday. Played a really good a Saturday round of 67. But did kind of fumble towards the back 9, made a double bogey on 17, kind of derailed his round a little bit. But nonetheless, Max did make the cut, T33. Did want to put it out there. But the last thing I got here,
checks, snapping necks, yeah.
Right. And I think this kind of goes to why Scotty may be so dominant right now, and maybe this is a little avenue that we can, venture down, talk to him with if it ever happens, maybe he listens to this. We don't know, right? Scotty Scheffler was born in Ridgewood, New Jersey. This podcast is all about golfing in the Garden State. You want to talk about some kumbaya, little like, hey, let's come back to your roots a little bit. Let's go visit where you were born.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, not for nothing, but good things are happening here in the Garden State. And Scotty, we still consider you one of our own, buddy.
Come on, Scotty. This is the perfect place to talk. There's no pressure. It's just a couple of guys talking golf. This is a righty layup. No need not to come on. Come on, make it happen. I'll tell you what, Mike. Let's do this. Why don't we call our scheduler? We'll get him on the case.
I mean, he lived in New Jersey till he's 6 years old. So it's not like he born and then left. He spent a good 5 years here. I mean, think about it.
Or 6 if he left when he was 6 years old.
Right. Well, I'm saying
I wonder if he's got family here.
Yeah, I didn't go down Ancestry.com, but
yeah.
I did do some research on that, and I just said, man, this would be kind of fitting. But nonetheless, another New Jersey guy winning golf tournaments, people.
I did like the memes of him wearing orange. Did he wear orange Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday.
So, and apparently, and it's kind of tough to believe, it's the first time he's worn an orange shirt since last year. So, for him to, I don't know if that's true, but those are what the memes were saying. If that's all time level trolling, and I absolutely love it. I think that's just amazing.
Yep. Scotty just being Scotty.
Yeah. All right, Mike. We got anything else for this episode?
Hope that's it. Hope everybody has a great Memorial Day.
Yeah. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Stay tuned for our interview this week with Brian Komline, most recent New Jersey Golf Hall of Famer, the only, Mike, help me out with this, the only amateur to win all 5 New Jersey golf majors. Look at that. Who knows?
you
Look
go.
at I learned something. So stay tuned. We got Brian on. He's got a really a great story. Again, I always find it really interesting, Mike, when we have these guys who like didn't grow up in golf, right? Like it's really easy for the person to be a good golfer when like you were swinging a golf club before you could walk, right? That's not Brian's story. So he's got a great story and just a really great dude, down to earth, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So stay tuned Thursday for our interview with Brian Komline. Till then, cheers.